Lyft Business, the enterprise arm of the ride-hailing giant, has seen steady growth over the last year. This thanks to demand from corporate clients and an expansion into the healthcare sector. And while competition in ride-hailing is always red hot, Lyft Business has formed partnerships with Starbucks, Hewlett-Packard Enterprises, and JetBlue. Here now to discuss, we are joined by David Baga, Chief Business Officer at Lyft, and this business is on track to hit $1 billion run rate by the end of the year. What is included in that number? Is that bookings? Is that revenue?
That's revenue.
So talk to us about what is making up that revenue. You know, where is this business coming from?
Yeah, so just for context, so Lyft Business was started approximately 3 years ago. So Lyft is a little over 5 years old, and the mission there is to really focus on providing the world's best transportation. Lyft Business works with enterprises and organizations to provide rides for the people that they care about. So their employees, their patients, their students, and increasingly a wide variety of customer use cases. So we have an entire team that is sales, customer service, engineers building products and services to serve all of these use occasions for our B2B clients.
For your corporate clients, are they abandoning, regular car services? Are they adding this on as an option?
It's a combination. So you have certainly some replacement of incumbent services in ground transportation. That's out of the corporate travel space.
And do these lifts operate in the same way where you hail them on demand, or are they there, and can they wait just like a typical car service would?
The user experience for a traveler is virtually the same as what you would get if you're a regular consumer. We do have a whole set of applications behind the scenes for corporate administrators to be able to create, design, manage, and administrate programs. And that includes ways that a lot of folks don't see that you use Lyft. So we can schedule rides. You can even request a Lyft ride through our concierge application for somebody that doesn't even have a smartphone or the Lyft app at all.
You're partnering with healthcare partners. There's been some interesting data around Uber and Lyft replacing traditional ambulance services where people will call an Uber or a Lyft instead of calling an ambulance. Is an ambulance service something that you would ever partner with?
In emergency situation, we always recommend calling 911 services. Lyft is not a replacement. What we are focused on is working with the non-emergency medical transportation providers. So every year, 3.6 million Americans miss their doctor's appointment because they don't have reliable transportation. It's a $150 billion burden on our healthcare system. And so we've partnered with payers, providers, and transportation brokers to be able to include Lyft as one of their transportation options for those folks that need a ride to the doctor's office or from when they're all done.
So what do you think will sustain, and we know you've had some market share gains over the last year, especially as Uber has gone through its own struggles, what will sustain those gains and even perhaps accelerate them?
Really three things that we're focused on in Lyft Business. Number one is remaining focused on our customer. We believe we're the leader in customer service. It comes from a passion to solve the problem. That's the first and foremost, and something I hope we never lose sight of. The second thing is around innovation of introducing new products. We constantly are faced with our clients' most challenging transportation conundrums. And we work together, roll up our sleeves, and oftentimes that means designing brand new products that we roll out to the rest of our clients and opening up new industries completely. And the third is really about being able to hire really great people and to continue up with our growth rate.
So speaking of innovation and new products, we've been talking a lot about self-driving cars. I know this is a different division than yours at Lyft, but we've been talking about it every single day for the last week, given the Uber self-driving crash. This is something that Lyft is also pursuing mainly through partnerships, but other avenues as well. Uber is saying they're not going to renew their permit to test self-driving cars in California. We expect that regulators may take a pause, given some of what we've seen, especially over the last week. How will that impact Lyft's self-driving efforts and partnerships?
The news, it was incredibly saddening to all of us, and our condolences go out to the victims and their loved ones. For Lyft, we remain entirely focused on safety as our number one priority for our self-driving initiative.
So how do you make sure that is a priority, especially given the way that you're pursuing self-driving cars via partnerships?
Well, today we are testing and designing and developing our self-driving system, but we don't currently have any cars on the road.
Do you think that this will fundamentally hold back self-driving efforts overall, or do you think that ultimately we're going to get to a place where this is mainstream and this is safe?
Ultimately, I do believe that we are going to see self-driving deliver the benefits that we've talked about for the last several years. I do think that this is going to be a pause and allow regulators and the technology suppliers and participants to really take a hard look at what is the path to making them a viable, widely spread option.
So, given all of the different businesses that Lyft is experimenting with and building out, like yours, I wonder if ride sharing becomes a commodity, and whether the choice between Uber and Lyft or whatever ride sharing service it is simply comes down to ultimately how far away is the fastest car that I can get.
We have seen that coverage matters, and ETAs definitely matter, and pricing is critical importance to remain competitive. But we do think that there are values also matter, and that's an important factor that we're seeing introduced into the criteria for decision making for consumers, and certainly showing up for my B2B clients.